I believe we are the only club in Hungary that actually has an ROP, just for our general day-to-day practice sessions. And this is a major advantage.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the newest episode of the podcast of Europa 2000 High School. And today I am here with teacher Alex from Bilingual.
Hello.
Marci from 12L.
Hi.
And Sava from 12A. So can you guys just please go around and tell me your titles in the Bilingual MUN group?
Sure, yep. My name's Alex. I'm an English math teacher here, but the best part of my job is the MUN club director. This is my 5th school year at Europa and in Hungary, and the 3rd year with the Model UN club.
Okay, so hi, as I've been introduced, I'm Marci. I'm the Director of Delegate Development here at Europa 2000 and Bilingual MUN, which means that I'm responsible for mentoring the new kids and the beginner delegates, and also the intermediate delegates.
Hello, my name is Salwa. I am the president of the Model United Nations Club of Bilingual, or Bilingual School. I've been with this club for 3 years now as well. The first year I was still a new delegate, and then I became Secretary General, now President. My role mainly includes writing the rules of procedure, that is the rules of debate, and making sure that everyone is familiar with them, and helping also along in mentoring our delegates.
Okay, so now I believe not everyone knows about what is MUN and how does it work. So can you just please explain this to me and also to the viewers? So Alex, you are the teacher and the director of this MUN club. Could you explain this from a teacher's point of view, please?
Sure, I can start. Model UN, the way I see it, it's a debate club for students, but it's centered in the real world. So we are set up exactly like the real United Nations, and we do the same things that they do. We're just, I don't know, less gray hair. It's really cool from the bilingual English teacher perspective, because this is some heavy language that we have to use, right?
Obvious.
It's C1, C2. We're solving all of the world's problems. And so my favorite parts are that we are talking about things that we don't usually talk about in high school, at least. We're looking at wars and famines and refugees and real world problems that our students, who are teenagers now, are going to grow up into the world that is affected by those problems, and hopefully these are the people that are going to be solving those problems. So Model UN is very based in the real world, debate-wise, and follows exactly what the real UN does.
So now you guys could explain some of this from the students' point of view, and how do you guys work together as well?
Would you like to start?
You could go as a delegate and then I could do as a chair.
Okay, so I would add something to Alex's point, and that is we are not just working to make the word better, but also much worse. Because during MUNs we have to represent the country's own interest who received as an assignment. So for instance, if I receive a task to represent China in whatever topic there is, I have to represent China and its wishes. And it might often go against what my moral code would dictate, and would force me to go more into a money oriented pathway. But it's also very important to understand these countries' perspectives. And obviously it's not just China we are talking about, but every single member state of the United Nations.
Yes, and as for me, I am usually a chair. That is the, could call it the judge who leads the debate. For me, Model UN looks like maintaining being aware of the rules, making sure that all delegates are aware of them, that they're following them, helping them, choosing the winners. And something that I would like to add is that we have committees. So those are small groups that we debate in. And I think this is something really cool about Model UN. Each committee is specialized in a different topic. We have the Security Council for security issues. We have DISEC for disarmament. We have SPECPOL for colonization. We have UN Women for women's rights. We have Human Rights Council, so on and so forth. We even have committees for scientific, for people who are interested in the scientific field, for climate change. So I think it provides delegates, as Martel said, with the ability to put their shoes literally, put themselves literally in the other person's shoes, and also engage with their interests, specific interests at the same time.
And then if I'm right, MUN is not all seriousness because there are punishments. Could you guys please tell me about that also?
Yeah, there are multiple punishments. Let it be from highly competitive dance battles to karaoke nights to imitating some traumatic stuff. There are all kinds of funny stuff we can do, and our beloved chairs put us through if we violate some sort of rule.
That's really understandable. Okay, so why I asked you guys here today was to talk about your recent competition in Cambridge. And I would like to ask all of you about your perspectives, your experiences. And first of all, Alex, this question should be directed to you. How did the kids prepare here in school? So how did you help them and how was it?
I think it's worth even starting before then, before preparing for this specific conference, because this was a really special trip. We try to go abroad every single year, but that's expensive. So this year was our second time applying for and receiving grant money from the Nemzeti Tehetség. So we're really thankful for the support of them. And that means that when we go abroad, we're representing Hungary. We're representing U2K, we're representing Bilingual, we're representing our club, but we're there on government money. And that means we're expected to do a good showing. We're expected to win. That's what it is. We're expected to win when someone else is paying for our way. And so yes, it's a lot of pressure, but we've received this grant in the past. And when we went there, you came with us to the
Yes.
Netherlands. We won.
That's really great.
We won. That year we brought 5 delegates and 4 people won.
Yeah.
So we have a very successful club. I don't think the pressure necessarily got to us that we were representing our entire country, but we had a very strong showing, but we had that in the back of our mind the whole time.
Obviously.
Yeah, so the financial support from the Nemzeti Tehetség as well as the bilingual program really helped make this happen. A lot of our conferences, all of our conferences happen within Hungary, and so the one that we do each year that goes abroad is really special. And so a lot of admin to put together this grant. Lazzo Silvia helped a lot. It's all in Hungarian, so I
Obviously, you needed help.
it was good to have some help with that paperwork. And so that got us to it. We chose Cambridge mostly for convenience. Our calendar at the school is very full. We have a lot of programs, we have a lot of exams, we have a lot of Model UN conferences, that's what we call the competitions. And so we pretty much just went on the global website of all of the competitions and picked the weekends that we were free.
But this is one of the biggest, no? Cambridge is one of the biggest, maybe, as I believe?
It's not the biggest, but it's definitely, from what we saw on the website, it has good reputation, so that's why we chose it. Yeah. I mean, just the name itself, it tells you.
Yeah. So it was hosted in the city of Cambridge, not affiliated with the university or the language exam.
Unfortunately, because the Cambridge Model UN, that is for the university, is reserved for university students, and also it did not start or they didn't hold it this year that we went, unfortunately.
Okay.
So we couldn't have gone anyway.
We would have won. we would have beat those university
I'm sure.
students.
Based on our track record in this competition, we
definitely would have.
Obviously.
So it was hosted at Stephen Pierce High School, just kind of a semi-private school there. And it had 12 or 13 different committees. So we're looking at about 200 delegates. And so it was, probably one of the biggest ones we go to each year. It was comparable to our big ones in Hungary. So we chose it because the timing worked. But there were other options on that same weekend. We chose it because the committees they had were interesting to us. Everybody was able to get a committee assignment that was something that they cared about.
That's
that
really
makes
important.
the debating. It's really important. The size of it, a prestigious size. Mostly for your reaction to hearing Cambridge.
Yeah,
we chose
obviously.
it because of that too. Yeah. So it was the right choice for us at that time. And so yes, we eventually we got the money. Bureaucracy took a little while, but we got there. We submitted everything on the deadlines, which is also very important. And then, yeah, we got the money. So we knew about mid-November that we were going to this thing at the end of January. Yeah. So had a full 2 months to prepare. We've been preparing for this kind of always. Everything we do is these competitions, and they're all more or less the same structure and everything. So really relying on our experiences from past years. The way the calendar fell this year, this was the first competition we went to, right? This was we were hoping usually it's like the second or third by the time we get to the end of January, but this year's big challenge was we didn't have one before. So we had some new members who hadn't been to an official conference until we got on the plane and went to England. So that was exciting.
That
was exciting.
I couldn't believe.
But it meant that we just had to work harder to prepare. So luckily now that we're established in the city, right, we know all of the other schools that play this game too. We were able to team up with Fazakash, another high school here,
Really?
invite them to our school and take an afternoon, more 4 or 5 hours or so, and do a mock debate. So we got
really
some practice.
That's really great.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we know enough people now that we can make our own training opportunities when we need to. Our group is 8. So not necessarily enough to have a proper debate with us, but when we bring in an external school, that helps us simulate the experience. Again, that's only 4 or 5 hours. Our conferences are 7 or 8 or 9 hours for 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row. So we got the rules down, but didn't necessarily get the physical and mental training that you need to do to go through this full marathon.
But that's a good preparation for the full marathon, as you said.
Yes, you have to run a 5K before you can run a marathon.
Obviously.
So that was a lot of our preparation is doing. New this year, actually, is super exciting. We got Model UN on the timetable. So Monday, 8th period, almost every single bilingual class is free during that time. So we have weekly trainings. Before it was, kind of quiet in the off seasons. And then once we get the information about each conference, like 2 or 3 weeks in advance, then it's 8th period every single day for 3 weeks. Yeah. So we were really fortunate this year to be able to meet every single week the entire year, even before we had specific research guides from each conference. So our whole training plan was built around going to things like this. And so when we finally got the money, when we finally got the information from them, we were ready to go.
And so how about your guys' preparations beside the school? So how can a delegate prepare for a conference like this?
Reading a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like usually my technique or what I have been developing through the years is like get a huge load of articles, postpone reading them as much as possible, and then do everything during classes I don't really care about.
Don't say that. Maybe.
I do not condone that.
No, we don't do this.
No, obviously not. It's a joke. It's a joke for legal purposes. I do it after a school, at home or whatever.
Obviously.
And basically how I do the preparations is I first read on the topic, then the position of my country, and then if I have the opportunity, the position of other countries. I tend to focus more on the actual events. However, what I believe Sava could tell more about is the legal aspect of MUN, because MUN is perfect for any aspiring law students, because how much international legislation you have to know about.
Yes, so precisely. I think what helps is that once you accumulate that experience in Model UN, it becomes easy for you to know what is legal, what is not legal under international law. So part of the preparation is to read what we call a study guide. For us, we call it a background guide. It has different names. It's basically about a 10 to 20 page long document.
Only 10 to 20.
And the fun part is that we, the chairs, write it. Oh, sorry. Sorry for the mic. So so we have to write that, and then delegates get that. So that's what Marcel was referring to when reading about the topics in general. So that's what we do. We, of course, link sources for them to go on further. Okay. And then something else that we also do to prepare is reading the rules of procedure. which are basically the rules that dictate how the debate goes or how the conference operates. And the chairs are the ones responsible to maintaining those rules, doing some fun punishments if someone does not respect them, and so on and so forth. So part of our preparation was to read those rules of procedure and those background guides, which we will talk about later. They weren't the best. Otherwise, I think what I could add to preparation, something that I do is, since I usually do go as a delegate to Security Councils, I do tend to see the actual Security Council meetings. It's very, very convenient how you could find summaries of them in the UN website or the entire video of it on YouTube. So I tend to watch those, and then as well, as Marcel said, read a lot of articles, look up any treaties that are essential for that topic. So like that you get also like the legal background, and you know what you can legally do or don't, especially if you're in a committee that's about crime or security. That's very important to know. So yeah, that's how I prepare.
And so maybe just like for some context, can you guys talk about like what were you doing at this conference, right? Because you're on the same committee, right? And so what were your topics?
So we had 2 topics. The first one was the mighty Arctic. So just for context, for the past like 1 month, completely out of blind luck, we've been discussing the Arctic.
It's 2 years.
For the past 2 years.
The
And
Arctic.
even after we were done, we also had another conference after Cambridge. It was Carmen at Karinti Frigyes. I again discussed the mighty Arctic topic.
And I have to add that it wasn't for you, but for some of us, we discussed the same topic in 2 previous conferences. So we were done. Oh, and then I also, before Carmen, I also was in a crisis committee. So we don't know, the topic is a surprise. You can prepare for it. You go there and then we see the Arctic again. So we debated for like 6 times now.
Was it still interesting that way?
It always is interesting.
Yeah, it's a very topic-rich place because it has security implications. I mean, like, just to confirm, the United States and Russia is there. Also Greenland, obviously. It's also a resource-heavy place. Also because of global warming, new trade routes might open there.
Human rights for indigenous people.
We don't care about. I mean, yes, it's very interesting from that perspective also. So it's a very complex topic that can be approached from a wide variety of areas.
Okay, I see.
The second one was the India-Pakistan issue. Specifically in 2025, I believe, there was a massive military engagement between two nations. They have been, ever since they were basically created, there has been a major historical conflict between these two, and it received an entirely new, I would say, dimension maybe, because true foundational treaties were not unanimously, but actually unanimously broken.
Violated, and then it followed also, the attention was brought again to the region to a recent terrorist attack that happened there and attacked tourists, so that got even more countries.
Obviously, so that's a big topic.
Yeah, so that was the thing, and I was representing Sweden and he was representing China.
Yes.
Obviously. As I know, Marcio always represents China.
Yes, I love that country.
You try to steal it from him.
Right, but like real world, super complex topics. Did you know India and Pakistan were basically at war?
Probably if I read the news, but like a normal person doesn't really read into this. But as I see, MUN delegates have to do this.
Yes, yeah. So real world things, but you have to know them super in depth, like you were saying, generally, and then you have to take your country's position and pretend to be China and Sweden. Yes. Yeah.
And also very important, when we are pretending to be the country, we don't pretend to be the leader. So like even if you are the president, or not the president, but the delegate of the United States of America, you aren't Trump.
Yeah.
You are just a delegate there, basically.
You're a diplomat, essentially.
You're a diplomat, yes, exactly.
Like in the actual UN. And then something also that we do to prepare is read articles that are, or rather documents from the actual government's website or articles from the state media. This sometimes gives you a headache because if you get a country like China, you have to go through a lot of propaganda, but you have to do it to know what they think.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
And that's part of like how you win, right? We conference, we talk about conferences, we talk about research, we talk about all that, but like at the end of the day, it is still a competition. And so one of the things these chairs are looking for is how well can you stick to your country's policy? If you're America and you say Greenland's cool, it's Denmark, like everybody, you can just have it. Well, no,
That's
it's not.
obviously not it.
So yeah, Marcel's ability to play a bad guy when you put on your bad guy tie is that's a strength. That's a skill. Yeah, you don't want to say some of those things, right? But he has to because it's China. He's representing China's policies.
But this was a very successful competition for you guys, no? Could you please tell me about how much did you win?
Sala, did you win?
Yes, I won.
Marcel, did you win?
Yes.
Hey, Edda, did you win?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot
Raichi?
of-
Yeah.
Yes.
Nanchi?
Yes.
Giga? Oh wait, who was the other
Benny.
one? Yeah, Benny won.
He also won first
Yes.
place. Yes. And then,
the two that didn't win?
yeah, the only reason they didn't win is because they
Facing up against
They
other
were against
Hungarians.
us.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It's like Giga, one of us, he was with us at the same committee.
Right? Like you're competing for third at that point. If
Yeah.
you're sitting in a room with Sala and Marcel.
Yeah, and
And-
he wasn't even eligible for the other award because it was for beginners, but he was too good for it.
Oh my god, poor
Eunice
guy.
was our other member that went. He was competing against Grady. She won. Only one person can win. So,
Yeah.
like nobody lost.
That's
Some people got nice glass trophies. Some got certificates, and some got beautiful memories.
Yes.
That's all it is. Okay, so now that we have talked about all of the preparation and all of this, could you guys tell me about your experiences? So first, how did you see this whole conference, Alex, as a teacher, maybe? That's
Food was good. yeah, fish and chips. We were in England. The performance was great.
And I think it's also worth mentioning that in every single committee that we were in, we got an award.
That's really great.
And so that is about 80% of our delegation got an award. And as we mentioned before, the ones who didn't is because they had to compete we had to compete between each other.
So we were all spread across 5 different committees, in 5 different rooms in 2 different buildings of the school. So like I got my steps in running from room to room to see everybody. But in every room, we were clearly like above and beyond
The
prepared.
best.
Like yes,
You guys should say that. You
I
guys
mean,
got really good
we're
scores.
humble
So.
most of the time, but all we do is win. Oh no, you lost once in your entire 3-year career, and that was
It was
controversial.
It was controversial, but I went there next year and I got first place.
So like Sala literally only wins. You pretty much
Only first place.
Only first. I'm
so
sorry.
good that Sala stopped competing as a competitor and moved. She goes to competitions now as the chair.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
so good at winning that she's just going to decide the winner instead and organize it. Like you hate it when I say this, doesn't matter. It's true. Sala was the best chair in the country. No, I'm serious. Like she gets asked to the big international conferences to
Wow.
take like a position higher than anybody who actually goes to that school because she's the best chair in the
That's
country.
crazy.
You
Also-
said, "Ooh, a 20-page thing." She wrote, 16-page background guide for our grade 7 and 8 conference,
And then
and the rules of procedure were
40
37 pages. So much that the teachers saw the 37 pages and went, can you do like a shorter version of it? So we had
Wow,
to shorten it to 2
congratulations on
pages.
that.
Yeah, like I believe for just a club, so without a major conference, I believe we are the only club in Hungary that actually has an ROP, just for our general day-to-day practice sessions. And this is a major advantage to us because through this we have a perfect method to actually guide the debate and also train the new generation. And this is all thanks to Miss President.
And
But-
something,
yeah,
sorry,
tell-
that I
tell
wanted
me.
to add is that that is true because most schools, like even the major one, like the Carmon one that you could see on here, they have, or like the Beeman one as well, their club and their conference organizers are like 2 separate entities. I think ours is much more immersed. We are 1-in-1, like so our people who go out there and win, they're the same ones who also get experience in organizing.
That's really important, and you guys are really connected. So you have a good connection in between you as the students and with Alex also. Yeah, yeah, that's something really important. And now maybe you guys could tell me about your experiences as students, as competitors, and how did it all work out between you, between the Hungarians, and with the other students also.
Do you want to start?
You can go ahead.
Okay, so I was very happy that in my committee there was Giga and Salva to debate with. because we actually had a very complex debate. We were basically fighting not just with arguments but also with styles, because as I have said previously, Salva has a very legal-based style. She focuses, and she has a truly phenomenal understanding, like a university-based, master's degree understanding of international law. I'm not like that. I'm more focused on the actual events, or I'm more of a role play kind of guy in MUN. Okay, and this multi-dimensional struggle, and also there was Giga, who was a sort of a synthesis between our styles, a mix. Yes. it was a really phenomenal experience, and it was also really good because, and I believe Salva can speak a lot more about this, the other delegates weren't, I wouldn't say as good, but they weren't as prepared. I've been to a lot of international conferences, and there is a general vibe I get from a lot of students from Western countries, that they don't prepare as much, yes, or they choose very interesting and subversive ways how they will represent their countries. For instance, and after this I will give the floor to Salva, there was the delegate of the United States who envisioned impartiality in the Pakistan and India debate in a manner that if either Pakistan or India did not agree with something, they would also not agree with that thing.
They would veto, which veto is reserved for really, really bad cases, when something bad could happen.
Yeah, veto is basically, so usually during MUNs we are working for a thing called a resolution. It's basically, we have a problem and that's the resolution for it.
Yeah, as in the solution.
Yeah, the solution. And the veto, and this resolution is constructed from so-called operative clauses. These very little things, steps to solve the actual issue. And the veto throws one step out immediately. No vote, no debate, nothing. And whenever Pakistan or India did not agree with something, US just vetoed something.
But that's a very interesting.
Just throw it to the trash. We don't care about
no
it.
Debate, nothing.
Nothing.
Just no trying to understand the other point of view.
It's like when you're arguing with your mother and father, and they just say because. And that's their
I'm
argument.
right.
Because I'm right.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was also Russia, who was not agreeing with. So basically, China is Russia's biggest ally in that committee, but Russia was just straight up going against Marcel. And so that was also interesting. As for us being much more prepared, as Marcel said, I think Hungarian delegates really do start to have this reputation. And I think we are very much contributing to it. For example, Alex also mentioned how they went before with the support of the Nemzeti Tehetség program to Netherlands. We tried to go again the next year, but we literally got an email said, "Oh, we really appreciate your application, but last year you were too competitive, and we would like to ensure a fun experience for our delegates, so no."
We were too intense, I suppose. They said we created a difficult environment to work in, and that we were too competitive. This isn't a competition, they said. And we said, yes, it is. That's loser talk. You're mad that we won.
Exactly.
But that was, probably the most intense team we've ever had. With you, Sepeshi David, Todd Vilmos,
my God,
Benavides Mati, and
Laura.
Borbe Marseille. Oh, and Briere Laura.
Yeah.
So, we were going there to make friends.
I can see that,
Yeah, and also in here too, we had similar situation. Right, so remember how I mentioned the rules of procedure? Those are the rules of the debates. Those, basically, usually we have the actual rules, which are longer, 40 pages long, and then sometimes just 20, and then we do have a guide to it for the chairs. So if they're new, they just know, they have a script to read off. This conference had the guide to non-existent rules. So we were like, wait, so everyone's confused at every single step. So wait, can we ask questions? Can we not ask questions? Can we hold a speech in favor? Can we not do that? Everyone was confused.
Oh my God.
And so it was the three of us who ended up talking to the chairs and convincing them to debate in the way that we are used to. So we literally forced them to do follow our rules of procedure. And then we had very interesting confrontations with other delegates that they got very annoyed that we knew so much rules of procedure that when I was once raising a point of order, which is to ask a question about, hey, shouldn't we do this instead? To the chairs, USA and Afghanistan were like, point of order, it's not Sweden who decides the rules. I was Sweden.
Yeah.
And then even the chairs were like, no, wait, guys, this is how actually it's supposed to work. So,
Oh my God.
so yeah, people abroad do not necessarily love Hungarian delegates because we always do win.
Loser talk.
Loser talk.
Loser talk.
Loser talk. And on that note, even because they did not have rules of procedure and not even the guide was really that good, the chairs ended up asking me to send them the guide that I watched for our conference.
Oh my God.
So I was like, wait, if they are using my work to do their job, if I don't win, this thing is rigged.
Yeah, it is.
Best chair in the country.
Okay, in the meantime, I believe this is how we should stop before burning down another bridge to a foreign conference.
Oh shit, yeah, we should. Sorry.
But like it's not the same around the world, right? Model UN is played differently everywhere. Even within the city, the 3 or 4 big conferences we go to have different rules of procedure. And that just means you can ask different questions at different times in a different order. Some things you are allowed to say, some you aren't. And every time we go abroad, we get surprised that they play different rules because they don't always send us the rules in advance.
Oh
so
my
we know how to debate, but we have to figure out how do we debate Polish style. Last year, they did things very differently. Usually we would write the resolution and all the solutions and then debate it one by one.
Yeah.
In Poland, we talked about it all first and then wrote the resolution after. So totally backwards from what we're used to.
Yeah.
So our saying, like our motto when we go abroad is adapt or die. We can complain about how different this is. We can disagree with how they do it, but the fact is this is how they're doing it.
have
They
to do
decide
it.
the winners.
Yeah.
And so we get, an hour or 2 of frustration and then we adapt. And we always do.
Yeah.
We very successfully.
Yes,
So,
as we can see.
And something that I would like to add to, yes, we are now mentioning the bad sides, but there's always good sides. For example, when we were in Poland, we also ended up adapting or rather integrating part of their rules to ours. So when we wrote our club's rules of procedure, we added the style of their debate. So I think it is a good thing that we get to interact with a lot of cultures, different rules, and learn from each other, and also then take what's best and leave what's not.
Yeah, that's clear. That's a really great point.
yeah, different isn't bad.
And so I believe this is the end of our podcast. So if you guys have anything else to add about your club, anything else you would like the school to know or anyone who watches this?
Sure, yeah, I can start. So, yeah, again, we train every single week. We're open to all bilingual students for free. Monday, 8th period, come and find any of us. We have our regular debates, study sessions, and all of that. We're at the most exciting part of the year now. We're training for the biggest conference. BMUN is hosted by Utfush József right after the spring break. That's a 5-day conference.
Wow.
That's a marathon. That's what we train for all year. And then maybe even more exciting, afterwards, we're hosting our own BILMUN. So this is the 3rd year of BILMUN. Remember, bilingual is like a big company,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where this is one of the schools. We're the only high school in the bilingual program. There's about 7 or 8 primary schools. So we set such a good example that all the other teachers came and saw what we were doing and went like, wow, they're using really good English. Our grade 7s are getting to C1. They don't have anything to use this university level English for. Let's get them into Model UN. So this conference we host is for grade 7 and 8 students in other bilingual schools to come here. So that's our main focus right now. We're doing a lot of chair training because now all of our delegates are going to be running this conference for the younger kids. So we're at the exciting part of our calendar. That's in May. That's right after Eretz Shegi time. So a ton of work to these two. Our grade 12s are very impressive. Come out and join the fun. We're looking for volunteers for BILMUN. There are always ways to help. We can get you EECS hours and just come and see what we do. Once you see what we do, you're usually hooked. But it's really hard to describe what we do without seeing it. So there's opportunities coming up.
So you could approach again any of us or go to the bilingual office. They will also direct you in a way to how you can contact us. As Alex said, you don't have to commit. You can just go there and see what we do for like an hour or 2 and decide for yourself.
Exactly, and if you're really into it, we again offer you personalized mentorings. It can happen either through Salva or through me or through the next generation, actually. And it is a very supporting community, it's a very welcoming community, and one that is looking forward to you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here, and I believe we had a great chat. And if you like this episode, please give a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.